Well, hello. Welcome to my office. My name is John Vaverka, and I'll be teaching the Interpretive Writing Course. I'm also the director of the Heritage Interpretation Training Center, and also an associate editor for the Journal of Interpretation. And I wanted to create a course on interpretive writing that really focused on what interpretive writing really was. Uh, my background, I did my bachelor's and master's degree in interpretation at Ohio State University, where I also taught interpretive master planning. And after coming back from 2 years in Alberta, Canada, as an interpretive planner, I went to Michigan State University to work on a PhD and teach their introductory and advanced interpretation courses. And as part of almost all those courses, one of the things that we stressed in the units that we taught were on interpretive writing. And the question is, well, what makes interpretive writing interpretive? And I've seen a lot of exhibits and things, especially in the UK, and none of that writing is interpretive, pretty much. Most of it is just informational writing written by an expert trying to impress other experts and not really caring if average visitors actually read this stuff. It's more answers to questions that nobody's asking. And interpretive writing needs to be relevant. It needs to reach into the visitor's imagination and understanding and inspiration and connect with them. So to be interpretive writing needs to be interpretive. Hence the textbook, Interpreting Our Heritage. Interpretive writing is based on Tilden's interpretive principles, and if Tilden's interpretive principles aren't used in the interpretive writing, then it's not interpretive writing, it's just writing. So what are Tilden's interpretive principles? Well, they say that we need to provoke attention and curiosity to get people interested. We need to relate to the everyday life of the reader or the viewer. We need to have revelation. There should be a "oh" at the end of the writing. We need to be illustrating an interpretive theme. We should have interpretive objectives that the writing is supposed to accomplish so we can pre-test and post-test evaluate the writing. And so based on Tilden's interpretive principles, we construct a mini story. Now for interpretive exhibits, the writing has to be about 50 words. And we know that because there's a lot of graduate student research on how much label copy people want to read in museum labels, and it's pretty much 50 words. We know that if you're writing label copy for outdoor interpretive panel, it's 100 words in two 50-word paragraphs. Again, lots and lots of, this is actual research that we know these things to be true. So if you only have 100 words to write for an interpretive panel, they better be really good, 100 words. Or if you're writing for an audio tape or a self-guided tour, downloadable to a cell phone, you can get a little bit longer. But the writing still has to be imaginative, it has to be creative, and it needs to provoke, relate, and reveal. And where does provoke, relate, and reveal come from? From Tilden's book? Marketing and advertising. You watch a TV commercial, that's the formula. They provoke your attention, they tell you why you need the product, and it's only going to cost you $19.95. And these are all the benefits that you're going to gain from it. So in this course on interpretive writing, we focus on actual interpretive writing based on Tilden's principles, based on tangibles and intangibles injected into the text. A tangible is something like a house, but an intangible is a home. And people relate better to intangible examples than tangible examples. And so as we construct the course, we go through 12 units. It is like an actual college level course that might take 4 weeks, 8 weeks. You start the course anytime and work on your own speed. Each course has homework and interpretive writing assignments. You send those directly to me. I review them, critique them, send them back to you, and then send you on to the next unit for you to work on. And by the time you get done with this, you really start thinking about how to write in very powerful ways, in very short ways. One of the textbooks I used when I was teaching interpretation here at Michigan State is this one. Paul Harvey's Rest of the Story. You can actually you can Google that, and you can actually hear a lot of his vignettes from some of these stories. And I still use that in teaching interpretive writing today when I do my live interpretive training courses around the world. So let's look at an example. It's some interpretive writing. This is writing that was done for an audio tape. And let's see if you can pick up the provoke, relate, reveal, and the active language, and the tangibles and intangibles. And hopefully there's a at the end of it. It's called Wilhelm's Passion. Well, more than anything, Wilhelm wanted to be an evangelist. He was only 25 a century ago, but already he's been an art dealer, language teacher, bookseller, and unsuccessful in love. But more than all the paintings and all the words and all the books and all the women, Wilhelm wanted to devote himself to his fellow man and the Word of God. It was this passion that brought young Wilhelm in the spring of 1879 to the coal fields of southern Belgium. It was there, in a little mining town, that Wilhelm outlined the rest of the story on the back of a faded envelope. Perhaps it was the young minister's total selflessness that first captured the respect of the miners in that tiny Bourgeois community. In a mine disaster, scores of villagers were injured, and no one fought harder to save them than he. Every Sunday, they overflowed Wilhelm's services to hear this unassuming man preach the literal Word of God. And then one day, lightning struck. A visiting church official discovered Wilhelm living in a simple hut, dressed in an old soldier's coat and trousers made of sacking. When he asked Wilhelm what he'd done with his salary, Wilhelm answered simply, he'd given it to the miners. The church official told Wilhelm that he looked more miserable than the people he taught. Wilhelm was dismissed from the service of the church that day, and he was devastated. The career that had meant everything was suddenly gone. There followed by weeks of despair. Then one afternoon, Wilhelm noticed an old miner. He was bent beneath an enormous weight of a full sack of coal. In that instant, Wilhelm again felt the desperation of these people and recognized it would always be his own. Fumbling through his pockets, the Dutchman pulled out a tattered envelope and then a pencil and began to sketch crude ones. But he tried over and over again. Beginning that day, Wilhelm was to capture for the world the torment, triumph, and dignity of the people he loved. If Wilhelm had failed as a miner, there was now a new passion, a new purpose, and the people he was not allowed to teach, he was able to reach through art. In the process, he immortalized them, and they immortalized him. For the end of Wilhelm's career as a clergyman motivated a ministry more monumental than he had ever dreamed. Because a preacher who wasn't to be became the artist the world would know. Maybe you've guessed it by now. As Vincent Wilhelm van Gogh. So now you know the rest of the story about this amazing artist. Your job as an interpretive writer is to provoke, relate, reveal the rest of the story, whether it's about insects, whether it's about architecture, whether it's about history. When people have finished reading what it is you've written, something should happen. There should be a moment. Maybe you were able to create more curiosity. Maybe you were able to create more appreciation. Maybe you were able to create more support. Maybe you were able to create more inspiration. Interpretive writing is product-oriented. When I do interpretive writing, after a person's read it, I want something to have happened. I'm not just writing to entertain. I'm writing to get more than the product of the product. And that's what this interpretive writing course is all about. To push you to inspire you, to coach you, to help you become the best interpretive writer and maybe interpreter that you can possibly be by opening up windows of viewing the world in ways you may not have thought of before, and to help you help people see your world in a way they have maybe have never seen it before. So your job is to reveal to people who read your work what your rest of the story is. Hope you check out the course. I hope I have a chance to meet you, and I hope you have a chance to look at it more closely and maybe work with me to help you work on your writing and help you become the best writer you can possibly be. Thanks for watching.